All right, Jim, we are back again for another wonderful month ahead of schedule before the NFL draft. We're going to be doing our mock draft together. Unlike last year, we just did our dueling mock draft, but we're going to be doing a mock draft per week. So this is obviously mock draft 1.0. We're going to try to go all the way up until the draft, where we'll probably have a dueling mock draft for that. But for right now, we're going to talk about this together as allies.
Yes. And I think it's important that we do one every week just because everything's going to change, just like everything changed this past week with some trades that happened with teams. So let's get to it.
Absolutely. Let's share some screen. All right. Okay. So we decided to use the draftnetwork.com to kind of make this as easy as it was last year. So we're going to talk about this. We're not going to surprise each other. We're just going to talk about what we think can happen. And obviously on Friday, finding out that Niners go from 12 to 3, Dolphins go from 3 to 12, and then Dolphins go from 12 to 6 with the Eagles. Now, as a massive Eagles fan, I'm like, I kind of like it because we'll probably have 3 first-round picks next year. But I hope Howie has a plan that he's been trying to make us happen for the last X amount of years. I just don't know what's going to happen.
It's building to the future. It's building to the future, I think.
But anyway, brother,
if you want to scroll your screen up a little bit just so they can all see the numbers of the actual picks up top.
Yeah. You can see all this because they have the Jags. They have the Jags, the Jets. And I know we've talked about this. I really think the Jets are going to trade back to maybe 8 just so Carolina gets the guy they want, I think, at quarterback, but you just don't know.
Well, let's get started with the first pick. My Jags, I think this is the easiest, most slam dunk pick out of all of these. Trevor Lawrence, ever since I think it was week 16 when we locked up the number 1 pick, we knew he was going to be a Jag.
There's not a chance he doesn't. He does not go 1. There's not a chance.
100%.
Okay, so this second pick has given me probably an ulcer, but you keep saying what you've said, and I agree with you that that no matter what, Wilson goes 2, whether it's a trade with Carolina where Jets and Carolina traded 8 and 2. And I think I agree with you because if they've said it so much, that means they probably got some, I would say maybe some input from teams. So I have to agree with you. I'm just going to say Zach Wilson at 2, but I think it could be a swap with Carolina. I really do.
It's either going to be someone trading for Zach Wilson at 2, or the Jets are saying we're going with Zach Wilson, and they kind of do like a day 2 draft trade like the Cardinals did with Josh Rosen.
Right.
It was a former first-round pick with Sam Darnold. So
so
I think he's number 2 regardless.
So help me here, though. Now, in my opinion, if I'm San Francisco, it's a no-brainer to take Fields. But everyone and their mother is saying that Trey Lance is guaranteed to go 49ers. I don't know.
I mean, they seem to like him, and I keep seeing some more of that too. So I think right now the Trey Lance train, the momentum is building, and I think it's a safe pick to go with Trey Lance at 3. I mean, he's the dude played 1 game this year.
Yeah.
I mean, and he may sit behind Garoppolo for a year because they keep saying Garoppolo's not going anywhere, but I think he's going to get traded probably to New England.
Yeah, probably going back. Now, the Falcons here. Could Carolina swap with 4 rather than have to give so much up to get 2 and still get Justin Fields?
I'm going to say no, just because they're division rivals, and very rarely do division rivals help each other. How often do you see the Cowboys and Eagles helping each other out?
That's a very good call. We don't bring up the Cowboys.
Wow. So here's the deal, though. I think Fields is a Georgia guy, and Matt Ryan. They kind of restructured his contract here, but they could cut him after next season. So maybe have Fields sit for a year behind Matt Ryan, and he's a hometown guy. I'll put some butts in the seats once there can be butts in the seats completely. And I think, honestly, as crazy as it sounds, we're going to have 4 quarterbacks taken in a row in this draft, which is kind of unreal. That's my thought. Do you agree?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Especially the whole Georgia thing, man. You got me. That's why Kyle Pitts is from Philly. Hopefully Kyle Pitts goes 12.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. So I think this is the most obvious pick. Joe Burrows, he got injured last year. Why? His offensive line sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get the largest man. Let's get the great white shark of the college football. Let's get the T-Rex of college football. I got to go Penny Soul.
Panay
They have,
Sewell, I think not Cleveland, Cincinnati has wanted him for a while, and they were worried they weren't going to get him when they fell
they'll
back
get
to
him.
5, but they're going to
They'll
get him.
Yeah.
So Panay Sewell definitely.
All right. Now, this could have been Philly. We could have drafted Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase. Not going to happen now. It's okay.
I think Jamar Chase is the guy here.
I do. I agree.
I think he's the. I mean, those 3 receivers and at least the top 2 are pretty tight there. With Waddle and Jamar Chase, but I think Jamar Chase goes to the Dolphins for sure.
I totally agree, buddy. Now this one's. I don't know what to think here because I've read that Jalen Hurts was interviewed about all the Alabama receivers, and he said, no matter what, I always prefer Jalen Waddle. And he said that over Devonta Smith, and he said it. I don't know if it was hasty or mean, but he did say that. So if he thinks he's better, I don't know if Detroit knows this. I don't know. I'm sure they probably know, but I think it's going to be. It will be Kyle Pitts because they love Hawkinson.
They got Hawkinson, yeah.
Right. But Kyle Pitts could just be a receiver too. He could.
It's not out of the question. I mean, the 2 tight end set has been very successful. I mean, you guys in Philly when both Goddard and Ertz were healthy. I mean, it was a good thing.
And the Lions lost Marvin Jones Jr. to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they lost Kenny Galladay to the Giants. They have to go receiver here.
Jalen Waddle would be the pick for me, honestly.
Over Devonta Smith?
I think so. Waddle's got the size.
Wow.
And I mean, I think some teams may be scared of how small Devonta Smith is, but he's a player. I just think teams have Jalen Waddle rated higher than Devonta Smith. So that's where I would go.
Yeah, we'll go there for now.
Now, here, do you want to scroll up again just so we can see the actual numbers of the picks?
Yeah. There you go.
All right, so where are we at? Number 8.
Yeah. So again, this is. I mean, I don't know if I can put Mac Jones here because I really think there's going to be a trade. I really do think there's going to be a trade. Now, but if we're only mocking what player is going to go to what team, then I would say Mac Jones because I think there's going to be 5 quarterbacks in the first 10, which I don't know if it's ever happened.
I mean, with that trade that happened this past week, that's done nothing. Like we said before we started shooting, Mac Jones has really benefited from it.
Well, let's go Mac Jones. It's that simple. There's nothing. I don't think that's going to happen, but based on the teams, it could. Because it's just crazy. Now Denver, they need a quarterback too.
they do, and if they would be
able
to take
quarterbacks Mac Jones, are there?
If they would be able to take Mac Jones, I think that at 9 they would take Mac Jones at 9. To be honest, Mac Jones now is better than Drew Lock.
Yes, but here's the deal. What I really think is I think Denver's going to take Micah Parsons. I really do.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
because I was on the Caleb Farley train, but he's dropping right now because of this potential injury that he has.
Yeah. I got to say Micah Parsons because they need a linebacker. Von Miller older. He's not as good as he used to be. They really don't have much there. And they just really need that cornerstone, great, like Bobby Wagner or Bill Romanowski, just a stud that is consistent every year. You never hear about injuries. They just play. Micah Parsons, I just see him being an absolute train. So, I could be wrong, but.
He is an athletic specimen. He's from our area.
Right.
He went to a couple schools here in the area and then Penn State. Yeah. And I mean, he only opted out because because before the Big Ten said they weren't going to have a season. So he's like, all right, well, I'm going to start preparing for the draft because I know I'm going to be a first rounder.
Yeah. Well, Holmes, let me tell you my biggest fear here. Kyle Pitts is still available and Dallas Cowboys are at 10. And I don't think they have the tight end they want. Jason Witten's 95 years old. And then other guy, he did pretty good, but he faded. Could Jerry Jones say, you know what, Philly? I know you're at 12. And I traded in front of you last year to get CeeDee Lamb. Because the right pick for Jerry Jones is Patrick Surtain.
I agree 100%.
But I could see Kyle Pitts going 10 with Dallas. But I'm not going to say it yet because they really don't need to do that. But Jerry Jones knows that we would love Kyle Pitts or Jalen Waddle or Devonta Smith available at 12.
Yeah.
But we'll say Patrick Surtain for now. We'll just keep watching other things for a while. But I am very nervous about this.
So there's two picks that I think could happen here. Your boy Pitts or Devontae Smith, and whoever they pick, you guys will take the other.
Absolutely. So my thought is this: the Giants have Evan Ingram, who
They do.
love, and they also now have Kenny Galladay and John Ross from Cincy, Kenny Galladay from Detroit. So what they really need,
they still have Slayton and Sterling Shepard, right?
right? So they're not going to go receiver, but I think they could go Kyle Pitts to have a duel, which I don't want.
I see that.
But
We also talked about this on Friday. We think Dave Gettleman, who obviously does not make all the smart choices in the draft, he loves Gregory Rousseau, defensive end out of Miami. I could totally see him just throwing a curveball and going the whole way for Gregory Rousseau.
Well,
but
I know he likes Kwity Paye also from Michigan.
Kwity Paye, yeah. Wow. I mean, let's just stick to logic for now, even though Dave Gettleman isn't that logical in his choices. I would say Kyle Pitts, to be honest.
I will cry. I'm so sad picking this.
But here's the deal, though. You guys get the Heisman Trophy winner from Alabama. I mean, Devontae Smith, he could be the new Deshaun Jackson for you guys. That's kind of how I look at it. So you're in agreement there, though, that Devontae Smith would go if they took Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I think 13 is a no-brainer with Slater from Northwestern.
Rashawn Slater, you got to get some protection for Justin Herbert.
Yeah,
that's a simple choice there.
Minnesota, dude. I don't. Minnesota is a team where you think you know that team, and all of a sudden, like 9 players leave the following year. It's like I don't know what they need now. I think they need defense. I think their linebackers are getting older. Eric Hendricks is a great player, could be Hall of Fame someday, but he's getting older. I really think they have to either think about. I think they need to look into like. I even thought Minnesota trades up to get Micah Parsons. I think they're not going to have him at 14.
Okay.
But if that doesn't happen, I mean, I think you got to go with the best available. And I think J.C. Horn or that Farley is the best available.
I mean, I would think they would go on the offensive line. I've seen that Elijah Vera Tucker from USC going there. And then I've also seen Kwity Paye going there as well as an edge rusher. I think they're going to go either offensive or defensive line, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, defensive back, I don't think that's as big of a need for them. Yeah. But if we want to go that,
I was thinking maybe best available.
I mean, they could go best available. That's true. I mean,
right.
I'm fine if you want to go with J.C. Horn.
Well,
it's the first one, so.
Well, I think J.C. Horn goes 16. That's why I'm going to hold off.
Okay.
I would say the Vera Tucker's the best interior offensive line in the draft, and they do need interior. I mean, and they always need a good tackle. I don't see Darrisaw going that quick, so I think Vera Tucker. I agree with what you kind of said.
Okay.
Let's just put it in because this has been kind of like I just don't know, you know.
Yeah, we're a month out as of recording.
Right now, so I think Patriots, you know, God knows what they're going to do. They could trade up into the top 10 for a quarterback. You never know.
Yes.
But what they do need is they need like, I would say they just got Hunter Henry and that Jonnu Smith at tight end, but receiver, I don't think they have much.
I was thinking if you want to click on the drop down bar, we can go straight to receivers. For position. Let's look at these guys. I was thinking Rashad Bateman from Minnesota. I mean, he's number 4 out of those 3 receivers, and
I think it's just a little high for him.
For Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, Patriots. I mean, how often do they draft first round receiver? You know, it got that N'Keal Harry, I think, but I think that was second round.
Honestly, with Bill Belichick, if he can't trade up and get who he wants, if he's looking for a quarterback and he looks at the board and says, I'm not willing to spend this much on this guy, he'll trade back for someone that wants it.
Right. So I would just say, I mean, if the Patriots are smart, might as well get another Stephen Gilmore, take J.C. Horn right now, or that Farley.
I mean, and I mean, right now, I would say Horn is definitely probably the pick right now. Because Farley is just dropping down draft boards.
Right. I don't know why.
Of this injury. As of right, I mean, because he's having surgery on his back. I think he just had it this past week, so people
Yeah.
are worried about that, and he didn't play at all this year. So
Yeah. I don't think any running backs in the top 20. I know Cardinals lost Kenyon Drake, and they say that Chase Edmonds is going to be the guy, but he's so small. I just don't agree with that. I think they take a running back later on, but they have to go cornerback. And I think this is where you take the best defensive back available. And obviously, if you look at this, I think we're looking at most likely either Newsome, Farley, or Stokes. And Kingsbury, I don't know how he is as a guy with one the draft or with his GM, but I think you got to take the what's called the sexiest name, which means the most popular. And I think that's Farley.
Yeah, I agree. If he falls to them at 16, that's like a blessing.
That's insane. Now, the Raiders need so much help, dude. Like they need so much help.
Yeah, I think Darisaul's the choice here, in my opinion. If you need offensive line help, and he's the best offensive lineman on the board, that's who you got to go.
And Darisaul is a great pick at 17. Holy moly! I think he's top 12, maybe. That's a great pick.
Yeah.
The Dolphins here, dude. It seems like the Dolphins have had so many first-round picks the last 2 years.
Yeah, because they've turned that Laramie Tunsil trade into, like, I think they've had 2 like the past at least 2 years, and I think they're gonna have another next year. So
yeah, I think this is where Kwity Paye goes, or where Notre Dame's Owuzu guy. I think that it's either one of them, but I think Kwity Paye.
I would say either Kwity Paye or guy who's gonna start climbing up draft boards is from Jason Owe from Penn State as well. He's because his 40 time, people are going crazy over. It was like a 4.3 something. It was really, really fast, and just his vertical.
Can he play? That's my question.
That's the thing. He's a little raw, and he was at Penn State. But I mean, if you're going for an edge rusher, I would say Kwity Paye. Though I think he still definitely is above Owe for sure.
I think Kwity Paye by so much.
Yeah, so let's go Kwity Paye here.
Yeah. For the the Washington football team, I think we already said Vera Tucker, right? We already said Vera Tucker, yeah.
Yes.
I would say by default, I like that Jackson Carman from Clemson, that guard tackle. But Tevin Jenkins is a monster. He's a big boy.
Yeah, and they need offensive line help. I mean,
right.
I think an offensive tackle is the direction they go. Do you want to look and see what other ones there are? If there's anyone that they would maybe consider?
Yeah, let's look at it.
I mean, I like Sam Cosmi. I don't know.
I've seen Leatherwood too.
Leatherwood for some reason has like dropped, and so
I always wonder why.
So is your guy Liam Eichenberg. He was like a mid-first rounder a couple months ago. So I don't know.
That guy is a horse.
So I mean, if they're going by this board and it matches their board, then it would be Jenkins. But honestly, I think Cosmi would be a good choice. Eichenberg would be a good choice. Jalen Mayfield would be a good choice from Michigan. I mean, they need an offense. I think there's going to be a lot of offensive tackles that go in this draft too.
Right. But I will say Washington also needs linebackers, and I like that Collins from Tulsa, DN/linebacker, and it's another Chase Young situation too. Like,
I think their defense is really much more stronger than their offense, and if they're going to have old man Fitzpatrick really being the QB all year, I think they're going to need to protect him because what their backup plan is Taylor Heineke, which I know Washington football fans are like, they love just because he had like a decent game against the Bucks in the playoffs. But he's not a starter. Yeah. I would go offensive tackle. That's the way I would.
Yeah. I just don't, I think Tevin Jenkins is a little high for him.
No, I agree. I think their ranking of him at 18.
Yeah. I've seen high. Leatherwood in the top 20. I've seen him at 20. I've seen him at 20 for the Bears.
Wow. I don't think I've ever seen Leatherwood that high. So yeah, I mean,
I've seen it.
I would go Sam Cosmi.
Yeah, I would too. I'm going to say Cosmi. I just don't know.
Yeah.
Chicago again. Let me go back to all.
So I mean,
And they have Allen. They franchised Allen Robinson.
I think I think this is where Bateman could go. That receiver from Minnesota. That's just my. Sorry to cut you off, but
No,
that's
okay.
just where I would see.
No, I
him.
agree. I agree. I think my question was, not my question, but like they obviously need equipment. They're going with what, Andy Dalton? Like what? What?
I think they're going to be out of the quarterback race because they're
like,
just
hey,
not
we could get and the Bears could trade up again for the whole like Trubisky 2.0. I'll say Bateman too because it makes the most sense.
Yeah,
and Bateman's good. And he's a great player.
Yeah.
And the Colts, I again, this is where they need help with offensive line, and Carson Wentz, 27 going on 6 years old, is going to probably need a lot of help when offensive tackle. So I'm just going to say they're going to go tackle, and the guy that I'm going to let them take is that Jenkins. I don't care about. I hate the Colts now. So and I hate Tevin Jenkins. Don't know why. I don't really hate him. I'm just saying because I'm out of line.
Tevin Jenkins comes for your head now. He hates you.
I don't know what he looks like. So Tennessee just lost to Dory Jackson. You gotta fix that ASAP.
I think Newsom's the way to go with this pick. As you hate the Colts, I'm not a fan of the Colts because they're in the Jags division, but I absolutely despise the Titans. So I wish them nothing but a losing season.
Right. Well said. The Jets now, I personally see them taking Najee Harris or Etienne just because they have no one at running back that I think is worthy.
I think Travis Etienne's the way to go on this one because they don't have a running back. Now, I've seen plenty of mock drafts where no one takes a running back, but with these two, I think these two both could easily go in the first round just because of their talent alone.
Right. And I will say I do like that Carlos Basham from Wake Forest, the D end, and they do need edge, but dude, they need so much. And I think you have to go with someone that could change the game. And I think Harris or Etienne could. I think Harris is going to be a Mark Ingram type player, and I think Etienne's going to be a Alvin Kamara type player. That's what I think.
Yeah, I could see that. And so, I know they just signed Tevin Coleman, but I mean, like Tevin Coleman hasn't been healthy for a full season and how long? So I think running back's the right choice there.
I think Etienne, like you said.
All right. What pick number are we on? 24. Okay.
Yeah. And because they just lost Bud Dupree, I think you have to go linebacker.
If he would drop to them at 24, the Steelers have always taken like best available if they can. Now, here's another scenario really quick because I do agree with you with linebacker and losing Bud Dupree. They have not re-signed and no one has signed James Conner yet. Are they good with Benny Snell and Anthony McFarland Jr. or do they want to go Najee Harris?
Well, my thing is this. They're not going to make big changes till Ben's gone. So I think you re-sign Connor, maybe just go with the flow this year. I mean, they did a great job last year by not being picked to be great. I mean, Big Ben had a great comeback year. I think they focused on a new running back when Ben's gone. And I don't really know why I think that. I just think that maybe because he's comfortable with Connor and I don't know. I'm not sure there. I think because I don't know how Joe Hayden, is he still playing for them? Is he 55 years old?
He's still playing at a high level though.
Right. So my thought is there's cornerbacks like Stokes available. There's another guy named Aaron Robinson from Central Florida. He's another good player too. They could go linebacker, because Zevin Collins, I like Collins more than Bolton. And I like him also more. I do like Notre Dame's linebacker, but I think
they normally draft best available when it comes to because they've drafted linebackers multiple years in a row because it was the best available player. I think that they would go with your guy from Notre Dame.
Yeah, I agree. I do think Collins is a little bit better than Jeremiah Owozu Koromo. I hope I'm saying that right. I mean, I even like him. I don't know how to say his name. Now with you guys,
this is a tough spot here. I think.
Would you to take best available? Right.
I think I've seen two players that have really popped up on almost every mock draft for the Jags at this point. I think
Jalen Phillips for you or Rousseau, but
I've seen Trayvon Moehrig, safety out of TCU, and I've seen Christian Barmore, defensive tackle from Alabama.
I've seen
Now,
Christian Barmore as well.
I am more of a fan of Trayvon Moehrig because we don't really have any good safeties. We just re-signed Josh Jones to a 1-year deal, and that's whatever. What Andrew Wingard? Do we still have Jared Wilson? I can't even remember because they're not really that good. I think if it was me personally as a fan, and a lot of people, I know Jaguars fans really like Trayvon Moehrig just because he's the top safety. But I mean, honestly, they could go Barmore just to have more depth at the defensive line. But I think they have more than enough depth at the defensive line after free agency, even though Tyson Alualu just left to stay with the Steelers. I would go Moehrig if it was me as a Jags fan.
It's your team. I'm going with it. Okay. I think the Browns, they need help, obviously, in defensive line. They obviously have probably the best D end in the game. But I think, again, they need to keep getting more players that are going to really help them defensively. And I really think they're going to take Jalen Phillips here. I think that the Ojulari from Georgia, I haven't really seen him much.
No, neither
in
have
the first
I.
round. Like, I don't really know him well, but I do know Jalen Phillips and that Rousseau from both Miami.
Yeah.
I think Rousseau's better, but maybe someone knows more than I do. I don't know. What do you think?
I think for an edge, we go with the first. Can you scroll up? I would honestly go with Jalen Phillips out of Miami. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would too. I just don't know why that he's climbing higher than that Rousseau guy.
Yeah, Rousseau, they've been saying is like raw. I mean, it depends on what day it is and who's speaking. So,
right.
The Ravens could use an edge rusher. I've seen them linked to Owe. I've seen them linked to. Can you scroll down real quick?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them linked to Zaven Collins as well. I've seen him there at linebacker. So I mean, I think they're going to go defense, especially since they just signed Sammy Watkins, so they think they're good at receiver. But
yeah,
I think they should go. Honestly, I think they should go receiver because they have no one at receiver. But that's just my take. Who do you have here?
Well, for the Ravens, I have defense. I think they can get a receiver on day 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be fine with it because Lamar Jackson's not really the guy. He doesn't need to be fed receivers. He does his own thing.
Yeah.
They did lose Mark Ingram, and obviously they have the running back from Ohio State there. I think he's a little undersized. I actually think they go Najee Harris. I really do.
Wow. You think they go Najee Harris even though they got him?
I do.
I don't agree with that one. I don't think they'll go Najee Harris at all. I don't think running back is even on their radar.
No, that's why, because Baltimore, I never knew Baltimore. Baltimore, every time they draft, it's always like a linebacker. So that's where I kind of want to say, like, I don't know what they're going to do. But I think Najee Harris, dude, I do. But I'm not putting that. But I do think that is a crazy edge to it. I think the Ravens are going to keep it local and try to get that Jason Owe.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And here, I think these guys go defense as well. I mean,
I think they go Stokes without question from Georgia.
Either Stokes or the guy from Tulsa.
Oh, the Collins guy. That's
Zaven
true.
Collins. So those, and Tulsa's around New Orleans, if I'm correct, right? Like
Tulsa's Oklahoma.
Sorry, I'm thinking of
Tulane.
Tulane. That's what I'm thinking of. Sorry. Okay. So I mean, but linebacker is definitely. I mean, they need defense. I mean, for sure. So I either of those, whoever they have ranked higher on their board.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I would say they'd probably go Stokes at Georgia.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. Green Bay. I don't know what to think about that. I mean, they have Kevin King at cornerback. I've heard defense, like secondary, a lot. I thought they were a great team all year. I mean, they just missed the Super Bowl.
their run defense was not that good. I mean, if he's available here, I think they would go Christian Barmore.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
On the interior defensive line, because they
Right.
need that help on their run defense for
Right.
sure.
Right. With this is where, I mean, Buffalo, they're so close to being great. Their offense is electric. It is. Their offense is fun. I think they have a running back issue there, dude. They don't like
I agree.
Singletary.
I was waiting to hear if that's where you were going.
They don't like Singletary. And then the other guy last year, I'm forgetting his name.
Zach Moss.
Yeah. I'll take Najee Harris any day.
And I think they still keep the other two guys and just have like a really good running back depth, and I mean, because they couldn't run the ball last year and that really hurt them in the end. So yeah, if he goes in the first round late here, I think this would be the spot. Najee Harris.
Yeah. The Chiefs, I mean, they're so solid at running back, quarterback, receiver.
I say you go offensive line though. I mean, you lost both tackles. They did get Kyle Long. I think you go the best offensive line. Maybe Eichenberg goes here or Leatherwood.
Yeah.
I would say
I think Leatherwood. I don't see.
I don't know about that, but
you don't think Leatherwood?
I don't think he's a first rounder at all. I have not seen that.
Okay. I would tell you I have seen it, but I don't know.
Fake news.
Honest. I mean, the Jalen Mayfield's really good too from Michigan.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it has to be an offensive tackle. I think that's what they need.
I think Jalen Mayfield, dude. I really do. I've seen it at a lot of places.
I'm fine with that. Let's go with Jalen Mayfield then.
Big Ten left tackles. That's a job right there.
Oh yeah.
And then
here's the thing with the Bucs. They just said now that they signed Leonard Fournette, they have every single starter from that Super Bowl championship team re-signed. Everyone's coming back, so it's best available, I guess. I mean, maybe you go Zaven Collins, because maybe you're thinking about who you are going to lose after this year. Then I mean, maybe they go wide receiver because Chris Godwin's right now just on a franchise tag as of this moment. They're talking about re-signing him, but
it's gonna be a fortune. I really think they go Tony, dude, from Florida. I really do. He's from the state. Boom. It's close. They do that a lot. A lot of homer things happen.
I like it because they also haven't re-signed Antonio Brown yet, so he'd be good depth.
I think it's Tony.
Yeah, let's go Kadarius Toney.
Okay. Wow. Let's look at this, Holmes.
I think even though the beginning of the first round is so hectic, I think it's going to be what we're going to be closest on, because once you get later in the first round, obviously it gets harder. But I mean, with that trade, that really helped kind of lock things up.
We can thank Howie for making our lives worse. Yeah, I actually really like this mock draft, man.
I do too. We'll have to see how much changes in a week for us. No, I like it too. I like it too.
I feel good about it. Well, let's call it a day. And,
yeah, this
was fun. We're gonna have to probably keep checking our mock drafts every day like we do, and just see where we're at, because this is definitely Jones and Jim's mock draft 1.0, and hopefully there'll be some changes in a week from now, because I'd be excited.
Yeah. I think too, what we're going to do different this year is when the actual first round's happening, I think we're going to film some live reactions and maybe put that into a video to see who gets who.
I'll be like, oh yeah, that'll be fun. Okay.
Yeah,
well, let's stop this, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Yeah. See ya.